start by talking about the way in which this scandal is being talked about, because one of the major responses you're beginning to hear in that, as the media message coalesces, we're going to hear more of, is that this is an isolated incident. It's one rogue agent. It is a small matter that can be sort of, swept aside, dealt with in a very sort of quiet manner, and doesn't speak of any broader issues. Now, I'm certain that there are many sort of information tables here. There are speakers who are speaking after me who will be able to very ably connect up the robocall scandal to a broader pattern of behavior on behalf of the Harper government, on behalf of the Conservatives, and on behalf of the Canadian government generally. What I want to do today is to seat this in a broader global context. And so I want to sort of take you on a quick trip around the world of the last week. And stay with me, I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. Last week in America, the Attorney General, Eric Holder, gave a press conference where pretty much for the first time he formally said that the U.S. President has the authority to assassinate U.S. citizens pretty much whenever he decides. He more or less said that the U.S. President is not bound by the Constitution and that the phrase was due process does not equal judicial process. And so the U.S. President can assassinate people without trial. Meanwhile, over in Russia, right now, tens of thousands of people are protesting in Moscow because Vladimir Putin has once again been elected president of Russia in an election that has been widely condemned by international observers as being riddled with fraud. As a tiny part of that, in Chechnya, Putin's party won with 99% of the vote. Little crash course in democracy, if you ever see anybody win with 99% of the vote, something has gone horribly wrong. A party can run on a platform entirely of puppy murders, and they'll still get 3 to 4% of the vote. So something is definitely up here. At the same time as this is happening, this week in Italy, former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi had fraud charges dismissed against him. They were dismissed because the statute of limitations had elapsed. The statute of limitations had elapsed because while he was Prime Minister, they passed a law saying that the Prime Minister was immune from all prosecution, and thus he was able to white out the clock on it. Meanwhile, in Greece, they're currently drafting changes to the Constitution to put them in line with matters of debt repayment and austerity measures. In the early days of the austerity measures, the Greek Prime Minister said that for any massive changes like that to happen, they would have to be put to a referendum of the Greek people. Immediately, the European Union said this was not going to happen, and the referendum was canceled, and the Prime Minister was essentially removed. The point of all of this is to say that Canada is not unique. All around the world, we are seeing a situation in which supposedly democratic governments have been attempting to seize power as extensively as they can, and have been refusing to be bound by matters of law, by questions of democratic due process, or simply by the basic will of the people. When you see issues like this, you need to understand that these are not administrative errors, these are not small issues, this is a constant tendency of supposedly democratic governments everywhere. And we need to recognize that democracy is something that must be jealously guarded. I weirdly enough don't blame governments when they do things like this. It is a natural thing for democratic governments to attempt to seize power. They seize power because they can seize power. And they can seize power for one reason and one reason only, and that is because we let them. We let them when we decide that we are too busy. We let them when we decide we are too lazy. When we decide that we are confused, or that we are scared, or that we are apathetic. And the simple fact is, democracy is not something that simply happens once every 4 or 5 years. It is not something that stops when you cast a ballot. It is something that must be fought for consistently and continually. And it is ironically in the places where democracy seems most assured that we need to be most careful and most suspicious of governmental power. And so as we go forward today, I want to sort of thank you all for coming out today, because you're all showing that democracy isn't just an administrative detail, it's not just a ballot, it is instead a lived practice. And so I commend you all for coming out here today, and I hope that we keep up the pressure in terms of this campaign. Thank you very much.